G'day guys, so this is the second day into the Supra, second big day, main day. In between, it may not look like I've done anything. I've done a whole lot of organising of parts, and that takes up a fair bit of time. Little stuff like, went to see a attractive South African woman. She gave me some rubber bungs. That's for the firewall. So I found the 32mm bung required to blank off the speedo. Airflow meter adapters. And I was planning intake. So I've got a 45-degree silicon bend, which I'm hoping if I cut perforations off here, I can slip it on there. Then I'll need to spacer it out a little bit because this is a bit smaller. But I think I can do that, put an insert in there, and that'll be the airflow meter adapter. So that'll sort of sit down in this compartment down here beside the power steer reservoir with the pod filter off the end. Not a fan of pod filters, but it's going to do the job in this situation. It's what the customer asked for. We've got a radiator. That's the Supra radiator. I just had it over yesterday and had the fan switch fitted because the VVTi, I can't find the hole. There we go. Because the VVTi ECU doesn't have a fan switch or fan circuit in it that's easy to use. It has one for the hydraulic fan, but extra sensors and bits and pieces, it's easier just to put this fan switch in. Started looking at the wiring and a bit of planning, and I tried to find some heater hoses. I couldn't find quite what I wanted. I was on a bit of a tight time frame. And fan shroud, the customer's made up the fan shroud. So today's goal is to actually get this motor mounted, hard mounted into this chassis. And that way I can firm up the placement of all those other bits and pieces around it. I can measure drive shaft lengths. The clutch master can go away to be rebuilt. Clutch cable, the throttle cable can be done. So that's where we're up to today. So I'm going to get into it. And we'll update you with progress as we go through. So a quick chat about the engine mounts I'll be using. I built up my own set of, it's like a universal kit that I've made up and I use for the Hiluxes. So I'm going to turn some bits of steel, some other bits of steel, and some rubber bushes into some engine mounts for this car. It'll pretty much give it very little movement. In doing so, because I make the engine mount quite stiff, we had to run quite a supple gearbox mount. In this case it works fine because the factory gearbox mount is going to work on the factory cross member. A little bit of slotting on there and I'm going to put a little bit more strength into it, but that's going to work fine. I use these on a lot. I use them on the Hiluxes as well, and they just make up such easy and good engine mounts. So I'm into it. Right, I reckon if I slice this off through here,
quite a nice job making up that.
They often don't work. Pod filters often don't actually work that well because you're often getting a lot of hot air. So you're better off with a proper airbox, or the pod filters works fine, but you put it inside a proper enclosure. Okay, so I've cut that off. There's no going back now. And I'm hoping...
Too short.
Fuck off with Mr. Too Short thing. We don't make fucking short jokes around here.
Yes, sir. Sit. Sit.
Oh, it won't stretch. It's silicon, it'll stretch.
I'm sure you've overcome that problem before.
Oh yeah, there we go. This box needs a bit of a repair. It's a bit ugly.
Get operations for that.
Okay, that looks good. Got to get the angle right.
Sit. Stay.
Right, then if I put that in there like that, I reckon if I trim around here, there's no way it can go inside. So if we trim just on this
Sit.
lip,
Yep.
and then that airflow meter, because it's got a little bit of length, should hopefully pop inside, and then we can clamp on and use that to hold it in place.
Sit.
It's quite a long piece.
Stay.
Yeah, Tesla. Good boy. Stay there. We'll get Poppy later. Here you go.
He will just sit down. So where's your mark?
Just on that lip there.
Lip. Okay, so first lip.
Yep.
Sit.
Luke dropped off the correct oil pressure sensor too.
That's nice. Nuts.
I think we'll fit a pod in there quite nicely.
So.
I've got to find the meter. I know I've got one. And I think we've still got a bit of adjustment, so I don't think we'll glue it all together. There's actually a lip in here, so we can get a hose clamp around there just fine, and that won't crush. Hose clamp around there, that's fine. And with a little bit of epoxy resin or something around there, so that won't move anywhere. That's going to be nice and easy, eh? Simple. Okay, I want to square up the engine and check some clearances between the cross member.
Easy.
So I think we'll do
So can
centre of the pulley.
we just pull this off?
I just leave it on there. Leave it on there. We'll centre of the pulley to the chassis rail. Centre of the pulley to the chassis rail. And then underneath, we've got like 5 mils. I think we might just push it back another couple of mils. I know I've pulled it forward, but I think realistically we need to go back.
That gearbox is sitting really high too, isn't it? Or not worried about that?
Nah, the gearbox is okay because the tunnel can come up over it.
Oh, it just looks like a truck shifter then.
Oh, that's sitting on top of the shifter's sitting on top of the console.
Oh, I
Not actually in position, it's not sitting into the gearbox.
So it's at 360. Let's go about 5 mil that way.
If we take it back 5 mils that way, we might be too close to that steering. So it may set off to this side just a little bit because we've got plenty of clearance down this side there, but we've got a steering rack on that side. So we're at the moment we're 5 mils to the left. Okay, let's go up and have a look. I think it might be 210s.
It does look that way. The top one looks like a 10.
I can't see the top one because I'm too short.
You can see the top one.
No, it's a 5.
Oh.
It's a
I can see the top one.
So, no, I think it's a 5 and a 10.
Okay.
I can't be sure. I've got some spaces under there, and that gives me clearance through here. Not enough to get your fingers through. But height-wise, that actually looks good, eh? It is sitting quite low. That is the lowest point.
But still, it's not that much lower.
And the angle looks good around the drive shaft. So that sits... If we took it up 5 mils, but the exhaust looks good too.
Yeah.
That exhaust bracket, and I think it's only going to bring it closer. Realistically, I'd like it down more, but that's just not going to happen. Is it sitting flat?
Well, it looks like it. If the sump's flat, maybe a little bit low on this side.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit low on that side.
Couple of mil. Maybe there. Looks even on that sump.
Yeah, that looks better, eh? So we've got to watch that because it's trying to fall down on this side. And yeah, we are quite close just in here. But if we took it more this way, we are going to end up just too close to that steering.
But you want to go that way to center.
And then we'll put the chain jack under it. Grab that chain jack from the back room, and we'll just recheck those spaces and get it sitting flat. 357, 358. 354, 353. So we're 5 mils that side. Just give it a push over that other side for me. No, just give the motor a bit of a push, just like that. Twist, a twist. Sorry, I should have said. I actually pushed it into the bracket as a problem. There we go. Can you just measure it for me again? I was just going to stick the bolts actually in it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to find the bloody hole. Has it got bolts or is it? There's a stud there.
Nuts.
Oh, that's why I couldn't seem to get it.
There's no stud. No, I can't find the bloody hole. Oh, yeah, the mount is a bit loose on the gearbox, so we'll just tighten that mount up, get rid of some of this play in here. Put your head at my height. Okay, so that's solided that up. And then we'll just, because these holes are slotted, like it's so close to that front, we'll just jack it up.
Very close.
At least that we can see that's fairly even. So if we use that as a guideline on that front hole, because they're not modified in any way. Yeah, they're not going to do what I want. I can't quite get it there. So I'm just going to nip them up here. Yeah, so it only needs a couple of mils on each side of that, and that's lined up.
Yeah. So don't worry about it then.
No, at the moment. That looks good, but we'll use them later on. So I'm happy with the gearbox cross member. That's sitting in the right place now. Yeah, we definitely want to bring it down that other 5 mils, eh? Coming out. Watch out. There's another one trying to come out. Probably got about 4 mils before we get to the cross member.
Actually gone that way a little bit. That steering rack looks better.
Yeah, that's the spot, eh? Height wise. Yeah. Let's just do.
That way.
Yeah, I don't know if we do, because with that mount, with that bracket on, I'm only getting like probably 6 or 7 mils.
Yeah. Put it like that.
Can you slip the exhaust cover on that other side? And we'll see how it looks. Good reason not to use the stock mount, because it's just not going to be any room. So we've kind of got a form happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually sit the next one in place to get it all in the right spot.
Yeah.
So we get the offset right and actually bolt it all up. and then I'll just tack it in place.
Yep.
Pull it out, buzz it up properly.
It'll be mint, mate.
It'll look good.
Beautiful.
And then it's dropping on the driver's side a bit. So basically this one's in place, we'll actually lift it up, put a straight edge across the bottom.
Yeah.
So we'll get that bottom of that pan and the bottom across here, correct.
Yeah.
I was trying to get it further over that way, more away from the steering. Like I've almost got a finger width in here now between the steering and that guard. Like I can just about get my finger up there.
Yeah.
Whatever my finger width is, that's good. And I moved it back a bit so I can get my fingers around the steering rack, just about. I can touch fingers to fingers under here now. So that's heaps of room. The last one we did, we actually had spaces under the crossmember to give us more overall room. But it still sat high. So that looks, I'm really happy with that. So let's build those bottom half of the mounts. I think what we'll do is we'll drill a hole through it, and we'll tap it. We'll screw a stud through it. So that's got to go through the plate, 5mm, through there, have a big washer on, and have 3 threads poking out. So it's only just going to be enough, that one. The factory mount, how long is the...
About the same.
The top thread is the same, so that's 10.125, but the bottom's even bigger. It's gone up in size again. I reckon that's going to be plenty though. So while I've been waiting for some parts for the engine mounts, I've tacked on the exhaust, put some flanges on, and that can be welded up fully. Can't really see it. It can be welded up fully when the when the engine comes out again. And I need to mark up this fuel line to get away from that exhaust, because we're going to put it back in tight and put a P-clamp or something in there. A riv nut in the chassis. Bring your eyeballs. Actually, we might need the little. We might need a little measuring device. Okay, cool. And if we just measure across the base of this, so if I go across here.
31.
I want a measurement. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Across up to the bottom of those bell housing bolts.
30 and a half. 27.
There's 4mm difference.
About that, yeah.
Really?
A little bit higher on this side.
Isn't it lower? You say 27 on that side? Let's wait, let me get it. Yep, I'm good. Better?
So just over 30. And 26 and 27.
3mm difference.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry, that one's a little bit higher.
So what I did with it sitting on that side, I've actually lifted this side up for when I build the mount.
But yeah, that's what you're going to do anyway, isn't it? You're going to lift that up.
Yeah. That gives me my clearance, and I think it'll sag down 3 mils of sag. I can just get my fingers around here still.
Yeah.
And I put 5mm packer under this, so if this side drops down on the mount, it's easy to go up because it's a spacer. Just put a spacer under the bottom of the mount, yeah. But it's not so easy to come down. It does look like I can see it at the front. It's not sitting at level. Okay, it's coming back out.
We just make it to fit as it is now and then space it
Well, no, well, what it is at the moment, it's I space this side up to allow for that that drop a little bit. So I actually need to put like a 2mm spacer and not a 5mm spacer. That's all. So I take the 5er out and put a 2 in, or I take both of them out.
Well, you take both of them out and put a 7mm spacer in.
Yeah, I've got a 6mm, but I don't have a 7mm.
Put a 6mm and a razor blade in there.
That looks, visually that looks good. Still slightly higher on the side, but that gives us a bit of sag when we put the mounts on. I think I might take the alternator out to do this side because it's just going to be a pain otherwise. Yeah. And I'll be taking the alternator out to do the power steering anyway. No. So we're using the existing 1uz VVti loom. And then I'll mash together some of the the 1G loom. And I build a loom that should just plug in, hopefully with the UZ. And it all sits together.
You're not completing the car, right? Just get the engine running and...
Well, we'll get it to the point where it needs the exhaust. So that point it'll actually start and drive and run.
But like the whole front and nose cone and everything.
No, well I don't have that. I don't even have the nose cone. We're mounting a cooler in here for the power steering. It's the big alternator. I have to take the power.
So you do
The nut on the front of the power steering was loose. Lucky we are taking that off, eh?
You're not doing the cert.
I'm not sure about the cert at what point. I'd like to see it go to cert through us first.
I suppose you can't do
But-
the cert without the nose cone thing, something.
No, sorry. They're just down the road. They live just down the road.
Oh, yeah.
So they can put it together. They can take it, put it together and then bring it back. No worries. There's no issues there.